Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something called the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, or LBRP for short. Now, you might be thinking, banishing sounds kind of intense, but the source material we're looking at, it's called Golden Dawn, Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, LBRP.PDF. It frames this ritual as way more than just getting rid of those bad vibes. It's described as a stone of the wise, a fundamental practice for something called self-initiation. Have you ever heard of self-initiation before?
It's a pretty fascinating concept. In this context, think of self-initiation as like actively taking charge of your own spiritual growth. It's not really about joining a group or getting some certificate, but it's about intentionally like engaging with and directing what the source material called the invisible forces of nature.
It's about cultivating a connection with something bigger than yourself, and the LBRP is kind of the tool to do that. Okay, that makes sense. Now, the ritual itself. It starts with something called the Kabbalistic cross. Basically, you touch different parts of your body while reciting specific words. What's the significance behind those actions?
It's really about bringing your mental focus to your physical body, creating a link between the two. The specific words and gestures, they likely hold symbolic meaning within the system of magic that this ritual comes from. It's kind of similar to how in yoga, specific poses are linked to energy centers.
Interesting. So it's like setting the stage for the rest of the ritual, getting yourself in the right headspace.
That's a great way to put it.
The next step involves tracing pentagrams in the air, charging them with a wand, and vibrating divine names. I gotta admit, that sounds a little out there.
It might sound unusual, but remember, symbols hold power. The pentagram. It's often associated with the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Charging it with a wand. And vibrating specific names could be a way of focusing your intention and energy.
So you're essentially imbuing the pentagram with a specific purpose.
Precisely.
Then, you call upon archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel, one at each cardinal direction. Each archangel has specific qualities and powers associated with them, right?
That's right. Calling upon them could be about invoking their protection and guidance.
It sounds like you're building a powerful, energetic field around yourself with each step.
That's an interesting way to think about it. And finally, you repeat that Kabbalistic cross, bringing the ritual full circle.
So it's like creating a sacred container for the whole experience, opening and closing it with the same symbolic gesture. But what if someone struggles with visualizing all this? The source material actually addresses that, doesn't it?
It does, and he emphasizes that. Even if you can't like see the elements vividly, just knowing they're there in your mind is enough. It's the intention and focus that matters most.
That's reassuring. It makes this practice seem more accessible, even for those who aren't naturally visual thinkers.
Absolutely. Adapting the ritual to your own strengths is key. And speaking of the impact of the ritual, the source material says it has a cleansing effect on the practitioner's aura and personality.
Okay, so we're not just talking about feeling good or relaxed. What does this cleansing actually involve?
Think of it as like replacing denser, coarser energies with more refined ones, like clearing out clutter to make space for something new.
So how does all this relate to the listener, even if they're not planning to perform the LBRP themselves?
Well, consider how the principles of the LBRP might show up in your everyday life. Focus on specific intentions, visualize desired outcomes, or actively cultivate inner peace. These practices could all be seen as echoes of this ritual, wouldn't you say?
That's a great point. Those are things we can all do, regardless of our spiritual beliefs. We'll delve into this more in part 2, but for now, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. The LBRP is said to potentially connect you with your holy guardian angel. What does that concept mean to you? And how might that type of connection influence your life? Welcome back. I'm curious, did that concept of connecting with your holy guardian angel spark any thoughts?
It's a powerful idea, isn't it? And the source material we're looking at claims the LBRP can help facilitate that connection.
Right. And it goes on to say that this ritual's effects go beyond just a surface-level feeling of being cleansed. It talks about a much deeper purification happening.
It does. The document uses some specific terms like monads and coarser cells being ejected. What it seems to be getting at is an energetic shift, a transformation that happens within the practitioner. Imagine refining something, purifying it to its most essential form.
Okay, so not just cleaning house, but upgrading the entire energy system.
Exactly. And the source material suggests that this refinement creates the conditions. For the holy guardian angel's influence to become more present, imagine a radio receiver. And as you eliminate static, the signal becomes clearer.
So the ritual helps you tune in, so to speak. That's an interesting analogy. It makes me wonder if some people might misinterpret this holy guardian angel as something external, like a separate being dictating their life.
That's a valid point. The source material doesn't delve into specific interpretations, but it emphasizes the importance of actively engaging with the ritual, not just blindly following steps. It even describes visualizing the pentagrams being formed on what it calls the astral plane. You can think of the astral plane as a subtler level of reality, not necessarily a physical place.
So it's not just about physical actions, but also about the intention and focus you bring to the practice.
Absolutely. And that's where things get really interesting. The source material talks about using the LBRP for practical purposes too, like opening and closing magical workings, or even as a form of exorcism to banish negative thoughts.
Wait, exorcism? That sounds intense.
It's not about demons and possessions like you might see in movies. It's more about recognizing that thoughts have energy, and that you can use the principles of the LBRP to address those that are harmful or disruptive.
So it's like taking control of your mental landscape.
Exactly. The source even gives instructions on how to visualize projecting the negative thought outside of yourself before banishing it.
That's a pretty powerful image. And it ties back to what we talked about earlier, the importance of visualization and focused intention.
It does. It's not just about suppressing those thoughts, but actively removing them from your energetic field.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got this ritual that's described as a key to self-initiation. Using potent symbolism, visualizations, and invocations, it's meant to cleanse and purify your energy, potentially opening you up to a connection with a higher spiritual force. And it requires active engagement, not just passive participation. That's a lot to take in.
It is. But even if someone isn't interested in performing the LBRP themselves, there's a lot to learn from its core principles.
Like what? What are some takeaways that the listener can apply to their own life?
The emphasis on intention, visualization, and energetic purification can be incredibly valuable, even outside of a ritual context. Think about how you approach your goals or deal with challenges. Are you actively shaping your reality or letting things happen to you?
That's a great question. It makes me think about how I react to stress. Maybe I could try using visualization techniques to create a sense of calm.
Exactly. It's about taking those principles and finding ways to integrate them into your daily life.
This has been incredibly insightful. I'm already seeing how these ideas could be applied in different areas of my life.
I'm glad to hear that. It's fascinating how exploring these seemingly esoteric practices can lead to such practical insights.
Absolutely. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll shift gears and explore the historical context of the LBRP. We'll trace its origins back to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and see how it's influenced other spiritual traditions. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from the symbolism of the LBRP to its potential impact on energy and consciousness.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious about the history behind this ritual. Where did it come from?
The LBRP, as we know it today, emerged from a group called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. They were a magical order that flourished in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Think secret societies, elaborate rituals, and a deep fascination with the mysteries of the universe.
Okay, so this isn't just some random ritual someone dreamed up. It has actual historical roots.
Definitely. The Golden Dawn was all about reviving and synthesizing ancient wisdom. They drew inspiration from Kabbalah, tarot, Egyptian mythology, you name it. They blended these traditions to create their own unique system of magic, and the LBRP was a core practice for them.
We've talked about how the LBRP is meant to help you connect with your holy guardian angel. Was that a concept unique to the Golden Dawn, or did they borrow it from somewhere else?
The idea of a personal spiritual guide, a guardian angel, it appears in a lot of different spiritual and mystical traditions. But the Golden Dawn, they definitely emphasize this concept. They believe that connecting with your holy guardian angel was like the ultimate goal of spiritual development.
They saw the LBRP as a way to open that line of communication.
You got it. It's like they created a ritual technology to facilitate that connection. They believed it could offer guidance, inspiration, and protection on your spiritual journey.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think about how these specific actions and visualizations could lead to such a profound experience. What would you say is the most fascinating aspect of the Golden Dawn's approach to the LBRP?
Their emphasis on active engagement really stands out to me. It wasn't about passively hoping for a result. It was about actively using your will and imagination to shape your reality. That's a powerful concept that resonates even today.
It does. And their influence didn't stop with their own members, did it?
Yeah.
I've heard that the Golden Dawn had a big impact on modern esoteric and occult practices.
Absolutely. They were like the cool kids on the block.
Yeah.
And their teachings and rituals spread far and wide. The LBRP, in particular, has been adapted and incorporated into a lot of different spiritual traditions. It's a testament to its power and adaptability, so...
Even though the Golden Dawn isn't around anymore, their legacy lives on through practices like the LBRP. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And it speaks to the enduring human desire to connect with something greater than ourselves, to explore the mysteries of consciousness and the unseen world.
That's a perfect note to end on. If you've been following along with this deep dive, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for the LBRP, not just as a set of steps, but as a window into a rich history of magical practice and spiritual exploration.
And even if you don't plan on performing the ritual itself, I encourage you to reflect on its core principles, the power of intention, the importance of energetic purification, and the potential for transformation through focused ritual practice.
As always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the unknown. We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic to explore. Until then, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep that spark of curiosity alive.